Cleveland Browns practice transformed into absolute chaos Thursday afternoon as Shedeur Sanders delivered the most surgically dominant quarterback performance this franchise has witnessed from a rookie in decades. And Dillon Gabriel stood helplessly watching his starting job disintegrate in real time. From the opening whistle, everyone knew something different was happening. Shedeur walked onto that practice field carrying energy that transcended typical rookie confidence. This wasn't nervous anticipation or cautious optimism. This was complete command, instant authority. The entire offensive operation shifted gravitationally around him before a single football got thrown. Sources inside the facility say coaches expected competitive evaluation, standard position, battle intensity, developmental progress measurement. They got organizational earthquake instead. During initial 7-on-7 installation, Shedeur connected on 5 consecutive completions, each one progressively more spectacular than the previous. A seam route threaded perfectly between 2 defenders, closing aggressively. A back shoulder strike along the far sideline, demonstrating elite timing anticipation. A beautifully layered deep dig over linebacker depth that made the entire offensive unit audibly gasp in collective amazement. Teammates erupted instantly after every single repetition, screaming encouragement, hyping relentlessly, pointing directly towards Shedeur like they already understood who QB1 actually was, regardless of depth chart positioning or organizational messaging. Then Dillon Gabriel stepped into rotation. Practice energy collapsed immediately, completely devastatingly. His opening throw arrived late receiver, forced into awkward adjustment, destroying route timing. Second attempt sailed low, bouncing harmlessly before the intended target. Third pass floated behind the receiver, eliminating any chance of yards after catch opportunity. Fourth repetition, a near interception that had the entire defensive unit screaming loud enough for neighboring practice fields to hear clearly. The sideline reaction communicated everything organizational press releases couldn't verbalize publicly. Players exchanging knowing glances, shaking heads subtly, whispering observations under their breath. One veteran receiver simply jogged back toward the huddle formation, eyes fixed downward, refusing eye contact with anyone. Meanwhile, Shedeur stood calmly at midfield, helmet tucked casually under his arm, observing every single misfire with surgical focus. Calm, composed, completely locked in. Here's where complications intensified dramatically. The definitive turning point materialized during competitive team period installation. Shedeur took offensive control and marched the unit 70 yards downfield across just 4 consecutive plays. 0 mistakes, 0 hesitation, 0 doubt whatsoever. A flawlessly executed drive culminating with a laser strike across the middle that split the first team defense perfectly, hitting the receiver exactly where route concept intended. The sideline absolutely exploded, defensive players yelling acknowledgement, offensive teammates celebrating wildly. Coaching staff exchanging shocked expressions, hands on hips, recognizing what was unfolding undeniably before them. Then Dillon attempted following that performance, 3 plays total. One catastrophic overthrow sailing completely beyond the receiver's reach. One miscommunication leaving the intended target running the wrong route entirely. One fumbled snap rolling awkwardly across the turf. Practice stopped completely. Coaches stared in visible disbelief. Some players literally turned away, unable to watch the organizational embarrassment continuing anymore. The performance gap wasn't merely noticeable or significant, it was absolutely humiliating. Witnesses inside the building say the sideline actually erupted again after Shedeur's subsequent repetition. A perfectly executed rollout producing a 35-yard strike that hit the receiver in full stride down the boundary sideline. Players immediately swarmed him, screaming celebration, pounding his shoulder pads aggressively, chest bumping with genuine excitement. But here's what nobody's discussing publicly yet. The organic leadership transfer happening naturally across the entire roster. Offensive linemen started gravitating physically closer towards Shedeur between repetitions. Running backs huddled near him instinctively, asking questions, seeking guidance. Wide receivers positioned themselves closer to his side of the field, wanting to catch passes from the quarterback they actually believed in completely. This wasn't scripted positioning or organizational instruction. This was genuine respect emerging naturally, leadership recognition occurring organically, confidence transferring definitively. Gabriel noticed everything. Coaches noticed everything. The front office noticed everything. The quarterback competition didn't just shift momentum today, it exploded into definitive resolution. By practice conclusion, teammates surrounded Shedeur, completely talking with him, walking alongside him off the field, treating him exactly like the starting quarterback he just proven himself to be. Dillon walked separately toward the quarterback room, staring downward into the grass, helmet dangling limply at his side, body language screaming defeat. Don't misinterpret the implications here. This was an isolated struggle, but systematic performance gap, revealing fundamental capability differences that draft position cannot overcome. Insiders describe the organizational energy shift bluntly, refusing diplomatic language. Today wasn't competitive evaluation anymore. Today was Shedeur announcing he's taking the job outright, and everyone in Cleveland felt it happen simultaneously. Let's address the organizational complications this creates immediately. Front office personnel who selected Gabriel in the third round, now confronting uncomfortable questions about evaluation accuracy, developmental projection timelines, sunk cost decision-making psychology. Coaching staff initially preferring Gabriel's system familiarity, now adapting towards superior talent regardless of draft capital invested. Ownership vindicated after enduring relentless criticism about Sanders' selection, organizational interference, accusations, developmental timeline disruption concerns. The locker room doesn't require official announcements or organizational press releases anymore. They already understand completely. They witnessed definitive hierarchy establishment firsthand. They recognized franchise quarterback emergence in real time. Veterans who initially questioned ownership's draft night declaration now see complete validation. Younger players who wondered about legitimate starting capability now understand perfectly. Everyone knows exactly what Thursday's practice session revealed undeniably. Here's what makes this situation particularly explosive. Shedeur didn't ask permission. He didn't wait for organizational approval or coaching staff endorsement. He simply took the starting position through undeniable performance superiority that nobody could ignore, dismiss, or rationalize away. Gabriel's supporters will emphasize unfair circumstances, unprecedented media attention, organizational pressure favoring ownership preference. His representation is reportedly monitoring the situation intensely, evaluating trade possibilities, protecting client interests. Meanwhile, Shedeur's camp remains characteristically confident, allowing performance communication to replace verbal declarations entirely. The sideline eruption wasn't merely emotional celebration, it was organizational recognition materializing audibly. Players understand exactly what today means. QB1 is already established, standing right in front of them, and Thursday afternoon he made it completely undeniable. This wasn't practice session, this was coronation. Shedeur Sanders didn't just outperform Dillon Gabriel today, he obliterated him systematically. He embarrassed him publicly. He took his job definitively. And the entire Browns organization erupted because everyone knows exactly what this means moving forward. The competition is finished, the hierarchy is established, the future is decided. Whether Cleveland acknowledges reality immediately or delays inevitable announcement, organizational direction was determined Thursday afternoon. Shedeur Sanders isn't competing for the starting position anymore. He already won it decisively, permanently. And yet the most unsettling part for Cleveland's quarterback room wasn't the scoreboard of practice or the stat line of completed passes. It was the silence afterward. Film sessions that night reportedly shifted the building's entire mood. Coaches replayed Shedeur's timing windows frame by frame, marveling at how quickly he processed reads designed for veteran quarterbacks. Meanwhile, Gabriel's cut-ups told a different story: hesitation, late triggers, missed landmarks, and the kind of mechanical breakdowns that whisper long-term concerns instead of temporary struggles. Players inside the room described the atmosphere as tense and uncomfortable, with nobody daring to pretend the competition was still balanced. You could feel it in the way veterans leaned back in their chairs, arms crossed, stealing glances toward the rookie who suddenly looked more like a 10-year pro than the new kid in the building. One assistant coach allegedly muttered under his breath, thinking his mic was muted, calling Shedeur's tape starter level day one. Gabriel heard it, everyone heard it, and the room went dead quiet. The next morning only confirmed what Thursday had already exposed. Reporters positioned outside the facility noticed players gravitating towards Sanders during warm-ups, cracking jokes, loosening up, displaying the kind of comfort only reserved for a quarterback the locker room trusts. Gabriel stretched alone, headphones in, trying to block out the noise, both literal and symbolic. People around the team insist this wasn't cruelty. It wasn't favoritism. It was gravity. The kind of gravity that pulls a roster toward talent they can feel, not just see. And in Cleveland, the gravitational pull around Shedeur Sanders is getting harder to deny by the hour. Some say the coaches already know the decision. Others say the front office is just waiting for the right moment. But one thing is certain, this quarterback battle didn't end with a press conference. It ended the second the locker room made up its mind.